Hello everybody. Pretty much since I started driving and having my own car, I've always had a dash cam of some sort mounted in the car. It's definitely saved me from certain incidents, and also just kind of fun to have a recording of some crazy things that go on. Now, I usually tend to give about a 1 to 2 year life cycle for any dash cam that I've ever had, especially with ones that I've had in earlier on. It usually was the battery that went off first, and that's something I'll definitely be talking about. But just generally, dash cams being mounted where they are, they're kind of susceptible to the worst of the worst. And any electronic can come together and say they don't like heat. And well, dash cams definitely get plenty of that, especially if you're in a climate that that leads to some bad summers. So this is the latest dash cam that I've decided to buy. It is a Zerorogogo. I don't actually know the model number because I don't think it has one. At least not on... Oh. This looks like it is a Z2. That was totally not mentioned on the Amazon listing. Printed with soy ink. So yeah, this is definitely a Chinesian product, but as they all usually are, there doesn't seem to be very many reputable companies that make dash cams that actually make them and don't just like brand their name on something else. I mean, granted, Zerorogogo is not one of those brands, but at least you're not paying for it like it is. So yeah, this is a front and rear facing dash cam, as in front and rear being that there's a cable that runs to the back of the car and you have a second camera there. This is the main unit of the dash cam, which I like its size. And unless you have a really big windshield or your car is really tall, you might run into some issues with your dash cam taking up more space than you want and it getting in somebody's way. And unfortunately, dash cams really aren't made that small, so you really have to hunt around and see if something works for you. Also, this one can be mounted pretty much on the windshield because this camera down here, it rotates. So you can have this mounted pretty much right on the windshield and you could still get a good angle without having to stick all the way down. Something I think is pretty cool. And this is the back camera. Looks like it just uses USB. It actually doesn't use USB. Somebody in the comment or in the review said that this is a proprietary 10-pin connector, which I don't doubt, but at least it looks like on paper it's USB. So in here, I assume is the power cord, or maybe this might actually be the cord for the rear camera. Okay, so we have a little charging cable, or not a charging cable, a power cable, I should say. And yes, this is the cable for the rear camera. It looks like a mini USB, but like I said, I don't think it is. And in here is, I believe it is the actual power supply. We have some 3M tape. I wonder if that actually is 3M. We have a spudger. And yeah, this is the power supply. I actually do have a power supply that's designed for dash cams like this to run all the time, as in it runs in loop mode when the car is not on, so it's not like recording over things all the time, but it's still recording. So I'm not going to be using that. And then we also have only 4 wire clips, and here is what appears to be the base for the front camera itself. Since I've pretty much routed all my cables, I don't need to use any of that, but I might need to use some I might need to run a new back cable. Because the back cable that I currently have, I don't think I'd be interested to see, because I think it also uses the same cord and the same connection. I'd be interested to see if that actually works. So this is it right here, the Zerorogogo camera. Actually, a really nice interface, or physical interface. It actually feels really nice. It's got that, I don't know what you call it. We've been installing quite a bit of wireless access points at work, and it kind of has the same. They kind of have this same material. It's like, I think it's kind of porous, but it feels soft. I say porous because every single time we put up one of those access points, all of the dirt on our hands gets on it and looks terrible, and it's very hard to clean. What I also like is these buttons have next to them, they have the secondary function, because they usually always have secondary functions, but this time it's actually labeled, so you don't have to remember, oh, this is the button that I have to press when I want to save it. This is the button that I want to press when I want to mute the microphone, although I never actually had to do that. Yeah, so this is the windshield mount. I think this is also the GPS. It might be the actually, I think it is the GPS module. So I don't actually know how this goes on. Oh, I see. So yeah, so this can pretty much, let's say the windshield is at this angle. You can have it like this and then rotate the camera to your liking. Looks like it only goes up that much. So hopefully your windshield is not that flat. But you know, that should be enough room. Let's go ahead and untangle this cable. All right, so let's go ahead and plug it in. Of course, it makes the typical dash cam sound. Yeah, it doesn't look bad at all. Now, this has a one of those Sony lenses in it, so realistically, any halfway decent dash cam you'll buy these days seems to have that in it. So the quality pretty much is always going to be the same. It's just down to granular things like how it can encode and how fast it can encode the video to the SD card, and also how fast your SD card is, because these dash cams that shoot out in the front and the back need a quite fast SD card to do that. Let's see. So I don't want to untangle this just yet, but there we go. So let's see here. Okay, well, okay, now we have the back camera, but let's see if we can change the mode so I can see that. There we go. Hello. That is the back camera. Actually, doesn't look too bad. I'll be excited to see. Oh, there it goes. I'll be excited to see what it looks like in the car. So let me just turn this off because I'm sick of seeing myself. So yeah, this dash cam. A couple things to consider if you're looking, even if you're not looking to buy this dash cam. Always, at least if you're me, get a super capacitor model, or even just a capacitor. There's only two versions of different variants usually. It's either battery powered or capacitor powered. And if you think about how dash cams work, you're really not gaining much by getting a battery. As a matter of fact, when I owned dash cams with batteries, I never actually used them for that intended function, I guess. So you could, hypothetically speaking, turn on some G-force sensor mode so that if something hits the car, it'll have enough power to obviously turn on and film some whatever's going on. But from what I've gathered, either it doesn't work, or by the time it comes on, it's the perpetrator's already left, and you don't actually have any footage of that. So the batteries are no good for that purpose, and also, no battery sitting in a windshield that is about 150, 160 degrees is going to last very long. And sometimes dash cam they'll pretty much blow up gracefully, as in just bloat. And sometimes they could be pretty violent, because these are some lithium polymer batteries that they usually put in here. And those lithium batteries in general are not any good when it comes to situations they don't like. So yeah, always get a capacitor model. If you're worried about recording when the car is off, there are hardwire kits you can order and buy and use if your dash cam supports it, like this one does, that you can hardwire. There's two wires you put in, one to the car's always on power and one to the car's accessory power, so that it knows when the car's off and on, and it'll behave differently. So it's always powered, but when the car is not on, it'll know, and then it'll start recording in time lapse. I think usually until something happens. I'm not sure what that trigger point is. And also, like I said, if your car has a rather small windshield, it's probably a better idea to get one of these, one that's not either smaller or one that can be closer to the windshield, because, like I said, some of these flat ones, you pretty much have them pretend the windshield is like this. They're sticking like this, and if you have friends that get in the car, it's very easy to bump it, and well, you don't want that, because that can completely throw off the proper field of view. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this put in the car, and we'll see how it works. All right, so I've begun the installation in my car. Tried to think October would be a nice time to do this, but it's early October and the humidity is through the roof and we still have a bunch of mosquitoes buzzing around, so I'm already getting bit up. You could probably see one in the lens. That is certainly quite annoying. But yeah, it's installed. It looks kind of funny the way it's so angled, but needless to say, it does work just fine because the lens can be angled up or down. Oh, you're not even seeing that. That's what I'm. That has a little bit too much of the dash showing, but this one does not, and I might keep it at this one. They do click into place. So the wiring harness that I have does not power it when it's off. Well, it does, but it powers it at full capacity, and when I turn the car on, it just decides it wants to shut off. So I've just decided to keep it powered all the time. That is until I choose to buy the actual wiring harness. This one does not have Wi-Fi built in. If that's a particular issue for you. It's always touted that you can get, let's say that you're at the scene of an accident, you need to show somebody footage. You pull out the app and you could just download the footage there. Well, it never actually ends up working that well. And every dash cam that I've had, the wireless functionality has always been flaky at best, and it's just never worked that well. What I actually ended up buying was one of these. This was on clearance at Walmart, and I'm not sure. I believe Moultrie is a company that produces like hunting cameras and stuff, but this was on clearance for $5 at Walmart. And hey, I've never had an issue with it. The app works just fine. I could save the full footage to my phone. That's another thing. The last dash cam that I have, it would only let me save clips directly to my phone over Wi-Fi, and I could not save the whole video. But this, it allows me to pull the whole video down just fine. It has a fairly fast transmission rate. And yeah, it's got all your connections that you'll want. I only paid $5 for this, so I feel like I've definitely gotten my money's worth out of it. A bit of a word of warning, I'm sure you could buy plenty of these online that don't work nearly as well as they ought to, but yeah, if you can find this one, this works just fine. Also, this one, as I've shown, has 3M adhesive. I've never ever had particularly good luck with adhesive that comes on dash cams. I would highly recommend buying this right here, Scotch. What is this? This is fasteners that hold 10 pounds. I've had my my dash cams held up with this in the blazing heat around here, which is probably about 150 degrees. It's always hitting it during the day, and I've never had one of these fail. These are just the business, and like I said, nothing's worse than getting in your car and you see your dash cam flying around because the tape that's used to hold it up has failed, and as it probably will, because like I said, heat and tape are one of those other things that don't really go well together. So I've tried hooking the back camera for my old dash cam up, which is the same cable, but it doesn't work. So I'm gonna have to run the new cable, which I'm not looking forward to, but I'm gonna have to. And yeah, it's a little wobbly, but yeah, like I said, this is just fine for me. I'm not. I'd rather have this than it just be dangling when I get into the car one day. All right, it's installed, and you would never even notice it was there if you didn't pull down the sun visor. Or look, all right, I know it's bad, but it's installed. I just wanted to get it up and running before it got too dark. I'm gonna have to pull out the old cable, which involves going all the way under there, and yeah, so it's not gonna be a lot of fun, but I'll wait until it's a little bit of a cooler, less mosquito infested night. But the good news is it's on and it is working just fine. So I'm excited to try it out. And by the way, I did turn off the beeping. That was just getting a little too annoying for me. But let me show you what it looks like on the outside real quick. There it is right there. So not super conspicuous, but I mean, it's quite a bit bigger than my other dash cam, but I think it'll certainly do. Oh, and this is the back one right here. And you can hardly even tell it's there. Well, I mean, if you looked, you could tell, but it's still not very noticeable. So yeah, that's the quality, and judging by the fact that it's all boxed up, I'm sure you can imagine that I'm actually going to be sending it back. Yeah, I mean, and I'm not. I was actually looking forward to enjoying the Dashcam because it's pretty much everything about it I appreciate. Just, I can't have something that can compress the video that poorly and make it that just bad to look at. I'm sure if it could do any better job doing that, it would look much better, but there's only so much you could do when you have to compress two 1080p videos into one SD card at the same time. So I can give them a little bit of a pass, but even then, it doesn't work for me. So like I said, I'm going to be sending it back. I was really looking forward to this working, but I'm pretty sure I did find a dash cam that's going to fit my needs. So I guess I'll have to wait and see which one that I picked out next. But other than that, I'll leave an affiliated link down in the description for if you want to buy this dash cam, if it's still available. And this will be going back to Amazon, but I guess that'll just about be it. So thank you very much for watching, and that'll be it.